Hey, this is Molly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel as we take a look at the upcoming Taurus New Moon happening on May 11th, 2021 at 2:59 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So be sure and adjust for your location on the planet. Now, this Taurus New Moon is significant because it's actually the beginning of eclipse season. The energy starts with this new moon where we are being clear about our intentions, what we want, what matters to us, and what you find important right now. Because every new moon is when the energy begins. So there's an energetic cycle beginning around May 11th, and then we're going to experience more of that energy 2 weeks later during the Sagittarius Total Lunar Eclipse, which is very dynamic with a lot of change. So with this new moon, we have the support to be very clear, strong, and intentional in what we're doing and building. So you want to locate where 21 degrees of Taurus is in your natal chart. You can see the sun and the moon are conjunct here at 21 degrees of Taurus, 17 minutes. And if you need help locating this in your chart, I have a separate YouTube video called How to Find a Degree Point in Your Astrology Chart. So please search for that under my videos. This conjunction between the sun and the moon is where the anima and animus, the yin and the yang, masculine and feminine, are joined together to create something new. And in Taurus, as with all earth signs, it's something tangible or physical. It's something that you're committing to because Taurus is a builder. It will stick with the energy. It will stick with something to see it through. There is a perseverance here and often a fortitude. So the Taurus energy is asking you to get really clear in what you want and what matters to you for the long term. Now, this energy, however, has more of an impact and is more powerful because both the sun and the moon are trining Pluto. So Pluto is here at 26 degrees of Capricorn, 45 minutes retrograde. And the trine to the sun and the moon from Pluto means this is something transformative and powerful that you are committing to or wanting to develop and build. Pluto brings in that power of transformation where you're ready for a change. There's something that you've even been considering or contemplating that you're now ready to say yes to or follow through with a desire, a passion, a sense of strength, and a commitment to yourself for something new that you're ready for. Now, Pluto is at nearly 27 degrees, and typically with Pluto, we have a shorter orb or degree, but I'm including it as a trine because both the sun and the moon are moving towards that same degree point. So the moon is going to get to 26 degrees of Taurus a few hours after this new moon. The sun is going to exactly trine Pluto May 17th, 6 days or so after this new moon. So something starts here. And then it really gains more energy, traction, and power when both the sun and the moon are exactly trining Pluto. And this is important to see how the energy moves forward. Because I feel like there's something that maybe even you've been contemplating, considering, sitting with, observing. And that's because this Taurus energy is in the third decan. The third decan is 20 to 29 degrees of each astrological sign. So the Taurus energy has been contemplating and maybe observing or sitting with something because the Taurus energy will do that and it goes slow, takes its time. Don't rush me. I'll do this my own way. And that energy now has gained some strength and clarity that's coming through. So this is important because I feel like there's something fresh or new or different But let's look at how the energy has played out. The other thing that's important to keep in mind is that both the sun and the moon are making a sextile to Neptune over here at 22 degrees of Pisces, 39 minutes. And this is an energy of a dream, something beautiful or lovely, something that improves your life, improves your world, because Neptune and Pisces brings in something from other places, other worlds, other dimensions, lifts us out of the physical world, reminds us to stay open and to trust that we might not know how all the details and particulars are going to come together, but there's support here from Spirit for what you want next. And Taurus is about our value systems. So you could have a shift in values, a change in what you want, a change in your priorities or what's mattered to you. And now there is some divine timing at play here that brings in more of the energy of support. So it's a very supportive new moon. And there's something here about a bigger picture of your life, which is the case whenever the personal planets interact with the outer planets, especially Neptune and Pluto. It's a bigger energy. It's bigger than just this one day, for example. It's bigger than just this one hour of the day. There's something, a cycle happening that is more significant, and it's keeping you in touch with the bigger picture of your life. So a lot of beautiful support for this Taurus new moon. Now let's continue the energy trail here, because the Taurus energy is ruled by Venus, and she is now here in Gemini. Venus in Gemini has choices. She likes information, reading. She's very much about social media, interaction, being a social butterfly, conversations. This is a very inquisitive and curious energy that is looking to discuss, looking for answers, looking for information. So it adds a vitality to the earth signs, to both the energy of Taurus and Pluto. And this Venus is making some choices and decisions. And you can see that not only is she in Gemini, we have the North Node at 11 degrees of Gemini, and this Mercury at 12 degrees of Gemini conjunct the North Node. So we have energy here in Gemini that is asking us to make clear choices. Gemini typically has the experience of doing things twice. It can have the experience of seeing things from both sides of the story or both sides of the information and going back and forth. This energy can be restless, but it's also adaptable. It likes possibilities. It likes to have things to toss around and discuss. What I'm feeling, though, is that choices are being made for your highest and best good with that Mercury conjunct the North Node. And it's important to note that in late March, we were talking about that Libra full moon, the Venus star point energies. There was a lot happening in late March. That's when Mars was conjunct the North Node in Gemini. And that was about the actions you took or what you were moving towards and desiring. So late March, there was behavior, actions, choices, perhaps very animated conversations going on. Now Mercury is following that energy trail. Mercury is bringing something new to the North Node, something different, something new, a decision, a choice point, something that you've been deciding or figuring out. And it's bringing clarity. Even from late March, when Mars was conjunct the North Node. But it could be that you're choosing, or there's something that's happening very fast, even with that Gemini energy that can often speak before it thinks. But there's something here where you've been thinking about it already. This energy is not totally new. And it is supporting us in our clarity of what matters for the long term, what we want going forward that calls to us and who we are now. I also think that there's something very healing about this energy because we have both Mercury and the North Node sextiling this Chiron, which was also very strong in late March. So I guess you could look at what has come to your awareness since late March. Where are you healing something within yourself or understanding it in a new way? And what choices are you making right now for the long term that are actually grounded and rooted in your values and what you want and what you need? Because I feel like it's a new way of doing something as the energies are working with the North Node. A new direction, a new path that maybe you didn't see before. That's the other thing about Gemini, is that something can be hidden and not seen at first, and then it comes through, and there's like this click, or aha, or wait, I get it now. So the planets are going to keep connecting with this North Node. Venus will be conjunct the North Node, and then we're going to have the Sun conjunct the North Node. So information is coming in to your path, your soul growth, what you didn't know before, what you didn't realize, information you didn't have is arriving. So stay open. There's interesting energy where when you're firmly rooted in what matters to you and what you want, but you can stay open to the details, open to the information, remain flexible in how it comes together. You're really opening up to probably a much better possibility than you could have planned. So it's a bit like when you're firmly grounded here in what matters to you, there's multiple ways it can transpire and manifest. And this is how you can stay powerful, where you're not locked into only one outcome or only one way of proceeding. There's a sense here that things can happen in multiple ways and they can come together through different details and specifics. Now, there is more of a clarity and commitment as well, because of how the energy of Mercury conjunct the North Node is trining Saturn at 13 degrees of Aquarius, 24 minutes. The trine is stability to an idea or a decision. It says that there's something maybe you've been contemplating, researching, focused on. Now we have Mercury trining Saturn. And that's an understanding of the way forward, how to bring things together, what's going to be the right path. There's grounding here too about what is accurate for you. I feel like there's a deep knowingness that's rising up, or it's been rising up. And I also feel like the mind is the last thing to get it, where the rest of your energy, whether it's your intuition, your heart, your sense of something, it's felt something or understood something, or it's like, okay, I get what's coming through, but the mind is the caboose. The mind has been the last one on board because the mind has been very active and it thinks about everything. Depending on your natal Mercury is where your mind goes and how you perceive the world and how you take in information. But with this new moon, there's something that's clicking. And it's making me laugh only because I can be like this too, where I'll have an answer or I'll know something and then I'll go in every other direction and then come back and be like, okay, yes, my intuition was right, or my heart was right, or this makes sense. But our minds have to do these exercises where they go into all these different places. And I feel like this new moon, something clicks mentally that maybe you've already sensed or you already knew, but finally the mind is on board and there's a sense of, movement forward now. Like there's something that kicks into gear. The process begins. Our process is stabilized. A process becomes clearer. This could also be really helpful for the right thoughts, ideas, words to share, words to express, because the air signs are about how we communicate. And there's something here where maybe you finally know what to say. You finally know what question to ask. You finally know how the pieces come together. There's something, again, that mentally clicks, and then things move ahead, and then they move forward in whatever way you've been searching for an answer or searching for understanding. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is the start of eclipse season. And in eclipse season, we're going to have a lot of Gemini energy. We're going to have a lot of mutable energies. I'm going to have that chart out for you soon. There's a lot of change with that total lunar eclipse. I feel it as a life transition, a life change, something where you're releasing in two areas of your life, and there's something that you're understanding that, again, maybe you didn't see before, or you didn't trust it, or you didn't believe it, but it comes through because there's a lot of change with that Sagittarius total eclipse, lunar eclipse. So what is important then at this new moon is to understand what matters to you in your life, what matters to you in where you're going. I also think there's an energy rising here as the sun and moon are trining this Pluto and sextiling Neptune. What I mean by that is that the energy is rising on a clearer direction in your life, and it wasn't time before. Because when both Pluto and Neptune are involved, they are about the bigger energetic cycles of the universe. And something's coming through that's in alignment. And it's interesting because part of this energy is that the mind might be the last thing on board, but the mind can also apply the brakes. And this is not a time to be overthinking or to think that it's interesting. It's like you won't get it wrong. It won't be wrong if you trust yourself, if you do something, if you take that action or that step or that decision, because the bigger energies are saying it's time, and almost like the details aren't going to matter so much. It's sort of like if you were to say the wrong sentence, or if you were to have one idea that doesn't land, there will be another idea. Or you're like, oh wait, I didn't say that properly. Let me try that again. It's sort of like, don't get too in your head. Don't be overworking something in your mind, because the bigger energies here are asking you to move ahead based on what you know is true for you. And there will be support even through the details, even through the particulars. So a very important new moon, and quite lovely energy in terms of what we're moving towards and what you're ready to experience next, especially in the second half of this year. Eclipse season definitely gets things moving, and there's going to be a lot more energy and motion in the end of May and into June. But this is where there's strength. There's a lot of strength here. There's a lot of strength. There's a sense of power. And I also feel like, again, the bigger energy cycles are support from the universe, God, source, spirit. There's support here for what you've determined. Don't overthink it. Don't get lost in the head. Don't only put energy in your mind. I mean, this is looking at all of your energy and what is coming up for you. Maybe you have to put the mute button on the mind at times, because there is a lot of energy with Gemini. But I feel like bigger things are known or bigger decisions are happening that you're going to feel strong about. I also talk more about the energies of May in the May 2021 Soul Growth Astrology webinar that you can get for only $11 with coupon code Taurus right below the video. And it goes through more of this chart even in your own natal chart. And then also it gives you a sneak peek at the Sagittarius Total Lunar Eclipse. So that's all the energy of May, all the big astrological aspects and such. And what May is really opening us up to is a new story in our lives. The next story, even the next book, not just the next chapter even, because the Pluto influence is transformation, something changing deeply and permanently, something shifting that, again, maybe you've been sitting with it, moving through a process, and could certainly been something from last year, from 2020. But now there is support here that it is a new day. It is embarking on a new path, and to stay in alignment with what you want. The Taurus energy wants harmony, peace, and calm, wants to experience the best of life and to enjoy what it means to be in this physical world. I feel like part of this energy relates to the new earth consciousness, the new areas we're building in our lives that are really connected to our value systems, our truths, and how the world has changed in a very deep way. This is an energy of, what do you want going forward? What does your best life look like? And are you committed to it? Because that commitment is being strengthened and supported during this Taurus new moon. So I hope this has been useful and given you some good things to think about and to sit with. And I hope that it's also inspired you to remember that wonderful things are happening now, even when we can't see it, but that we can certainly be experiencing them and trusting them. So as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you back here every Monday and Wednesday for my podcast. And I'll also be back soon with the Sagittarius Total Lunar Eclipse. Oh, and one more thing. Those of you who are in my 2021 Soul Growth Astrology program, where I go through all the astrology of the year, there's a separate webinar on all the eclipses. So be sure and sign back in and check out that eclipse energy for yourself, where we do more of a deep dive into what that looks like for you, the different types of eclipses, how they work with us differently, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here very soon.